Imagine a train cutting across the heart of Pakistan, running faster, smoother, and stronger than anything the country has ever seen. That's exactly what the ML1 railway upgrade promises. A massive $6.8 billion project stretching 1,700 kilometers from the bustling port city of Karachi all the way to Peshawar in the north. This isn't just any railway, it's the largest infrastructure project in Pakistan's history, a game changer for the country's economy, trade, and connectivity. For decades, Pakistan's railways have struggled with slow speeds, outdated tracks, and inefficiency. Freight moved like a snail, costing businesses billions every year. ML1 aims to flip that script. Trains could run at 120 to 160 kilometers per hour, cutting travel times by around 40%, slashing logistics costs and boosting trade flow across the country. Imagine transporting coal, steel, textiles, or agricultural exports faster, cheaper, and more reliably. It could be like giving Pakistan a brand new economic engine. But ML1 is more than economics. Its very existence has stirred geopolitical tension. Why? Because this railway is part of the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, or CPEC, a massive network connecting Pakistan to China and, by extension, to global trade routes. For Pakistan, ML1 strengthens its infrastructure and regional influence. For China, it secures a vital link to the Arabian Sea. And for India, a neighbor and longtime rival, ML1 raises strategic alarms. Any stronger Pakistan could shift the balance of power in South Asia. So here's the question that drives our story today. How will ML1 reshape Pakistan's economy, China's influence, and India's strategic calculations? Over the next few minutes, we'll break down the history, stakes, and impacts of this colossal railway project, showing why ML1 isn't just a train line. It's a story of money, power, and ambition. To truly understand why ML1 is such a big deal, we need to zoom out and look at the bigger picture, the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, or CPEC. Think of CPEC like the spine of a giant body. Highways, railways, ports, pipelines, and fiber optic cables all working together to connect China's western regions to the Arabian Sea. ML1 isn't just one vertebra. It's the main artery of this economic spine. CPEC starts in Kashgar, in China's Xinjiang region, and stretches south to Gwadar Port in Pakistan, giving China a direct route to the Indian Ocean. This corridor isn't just about moving goods faster, it's about reshaping trade and influence across South Asia. China has already invested more than $25 billion into early harvest projects, those that can deliver quick results. For example, Gwadar Port is now fully operational with 3 multi-purpose berths, capable of handling massive 250,000-ton cargo ships, and China even secured a 43-year lease. Meanwhile, hydropower stations like Cairo and Suki Canary are supplying energy, and industrial zones are growing around major cities. ML1 fits into this ecosystem perfectly. Without a modern railway linking Karachi to Peshawar, the rest of CPEC would struggle to move goods efficiently across Pakistan. Upgrading ML1 means freight, raw materials, and finished products can move faster, safer, and cheaper, creating a smoother flow of trade between China and Pakistan. And this isn't just infrastructure, it's strategic leverage. With ML1 functioning, China gains a reliable overland corridor. Pakistan strengthens its economy, and the two countries reinforce their long-term partnership. In short, ML1 is far more than a railway. It's the lifeline of CPEC, the engine connecting Pakistan's economy to China's Belt and Road ambitions. But if this backbone is so critical, why did it take 10 years for the project to gain real momentum? That's where the next part of the story comes in. Even though ML1 was approved in 2015, it took nearly a decade for real progress to happen, and understanding why makes the project's current momentum even more impressive. The delays weren't random. They were a mix of financial hurdles, political instability, and technical disagreements. Let's start with the money. Pakistan wanted a $6.2 billion concessional loan from China to fund the project, hoping for a one-time, long-term deal. China, on the other hand, preferred phased investment to reduce financial risk. They also disagreed on what could serve as collateral. Pakistan suggested operating rights, while China leaned toward railway tariff revenues. The result? A stalemate. Pakistan had to figure out how to raise $3.3 billion on its own for just part of the project. The consequences were tangible. Without ML1 upgrades, Pakistan's railway efficiency stayed low, and the logistics cost from Karachi to Gwadar remained sky-high, draining the economy. Freight bottlenecks meant slower delivery times, higher prices, and missed business opportunities. Imagine trying to ship goods across the country with old, worn tracks. It's like running a modern delivery company with horses and carts instead of trucks. Technical disagreements also added friction. Decisions like track gauge, signaling systems, and station upgrades became years-long debates. On top of that, political changes in Pakistan and shifting priorities meant the project never had consistent momentum. And then there was the geopolitical layer. India viewed ML1 and the broader CPEC with suspicion. The corridor passes close to Pakistan-administered Kashmir, a disputed area. India feared that improved infrastructure could strengthen Pakistan economically and militarily, tipping the regional balance. While India couldn't directly block the project, their objections added diplomatic pressure, slowing negotiations and raising questions about security and strategic intent. So, for 10 years, ML1 was stuck in limbo, a project with massive potential held back by money disputes, political uncertainty, and regional tension. But all of that changed recently, and the railway is now finally back on track, both literally and figuratively. ML1 isn't just about trains. It's a chess move on the South Asian geopolitical board. From India's perspective, this railway upgrade does more than modernize Pakistan's transport system. It strengthens Pakistan's economic and strategic position in the region, which could shift the balance of power. The first concern is the route itself. ML1 passes near Pakistan-administered Kashmir, a region India claims as its own. From India's point of view, any improvement in connectivity there isn't merely infrastructure. It could potentially support military logistics or facilitate movement in disputed territories. Even if ML1 is primarily commercial, India sees it as a tool that could enhance Pakistan's strategic leverage. Beyond the route, there's the regional influence factor. India worries that a stronger, better connected Pakistan could erode its economic dominance in South Asia. Improved railways mean faster trade, reduced costs, and more efficient supply chains for Pakistan, advantages India doesn't want to see tipping the scales. Think of it like two neighboring stores. If one suddenly gets a new highway for deliveries while the other doesn't, the first store dominates the market. India's objections weren't just rhetorical. Over the years, it lobbied internationally, raised security concerns, and emphasized potential threats to its borders. Yet despite these efforts, India couldn't stop the project. The combination of Chinese investment, Pakistan's determination, and the economic benefits of ML1 outweighed external opposition. This tension highlights a key point. ML1 isn't merely a railway, it's a strategic lever in a regional power struggle, where infrastructure becomes intertwined with diplomacy, security, and long-term influence. After nearly a decade of delays, ML1 is finally moving forward, and the momentum is unmistakable. In May 2024, Pakistan approved the revised preliminary design documents, officially entering the bidding and construction phase. This marked a turning point. What had lingered as a decade-long blueprint now had concrete plans and deadlines. The first phase focuses on the Karachi to Hyderabad section, the lifeline connecting Pakistan's largest port to the industrial heartland. To speed things up, Pakistan Railways set ambitious targets. Railway sleepers must be ready within 6 months, and 4 tamping machines, critical for track stability, are to be operational by the end of 2025. The project's phased approach reflects both pragmatism and financial reality. Initially, only the 1,676mm broad gauge will be upgraded. Full double tracking and fully automated signaling are postponed, with plans to implement them gradually. This strategy ensures work begins without waiting for full funding or complex technology, allowing Pakistan to start reaping early benefits. On the financial front, the Phase 1 budget of $3.2 billion is in its final negotiation stage. China remains a key partner, and the Asian Development Bank has joined, providing $10 million in preparatory financing to verify feasibility and support the Karachi-Rori and Rori-Multan sections. This combination of international backing and phased investment finally breaks the stalemate that stalled the project for 10 years. The revival of ML1 signals more than construction, it's a statement. Pakistan is committed to modernizing its railways, attracting investment, and connecting its economy more efficiently. The stage is now set for ML1 to transform trade, logistics, and regional influence, laying the groundwork for the benefits we'll explore next. Now that ML1 is back on track, the real question is, what difference will it make for Pakistan's economy? The answer is huge, both in numbers and in everyday life. First, let's look at the historical context. Pakistan's railways have barely expanded since 1951, leaving the country heavily dependent on roads and trucks for freight. This inefficiency costs the economy about $3.4 billion annually in lost time, fuel, and delays. Imagine every year, billions just disappearing because trains are slow and old. ML1 aims to change that completely. Once upgraded, train speeds will jump from 65 to 105 kilometers per hour to 120 to 160 kilometers per hour, slashing travel times by roughly 40%. That means goods that used to take 2 days can now reach their destination in just over a day. Faster delivery, fresher products, and lower costs for businesses and consumers. Freight capacity will also surge. Annual cargo volume could reach 35 million tons, with logistics costs dropping 40%. Bulk commodities like coal, steel, textiles, and chemicals, the backbone of Pakistan's industry, will become far cheaper to transport. In practical terms, factories can produce more, export more, and operate more efficiently. ML1 also connects Pakistan's economic heartlands, Sindh and Punjab. Together, these provinces account for over 70% of manufacturing output and 80% of agricultural exports. By improving rail connectivity, ML1 doesn't just move goods faster, it boosts the competitiveness of the entire country. Finally, the share of freight carried by rail is expected to jump from less than 4% to over 20%, transforming the traditional transportation landscape. Think of it as replacing a leaky garden hose with a high-pressure pipeline. More flow, less waste, and a lot more efficiency. In short, ML1 isn't just a railway. It's a game-changer for Pakistan's trade, industry, and logistics, laying the foundation for long-term economic growth and regional integration. ML1 isn't just about Pakistan, it's also a strategic lifeline for China. To understand why, we need to step back and look at the geography and geopolitics of the region. Pakistan sits at a crossroads of South Asia, Central Asia, and the Middle East. To the south, it borders the Arabian Sea, giving China a direct route to the Indian Ocean. To the west is Iran, to the north Afghanistan, and to the east India, a major regional rival. This unique location makes Pakistan an ideal gateway for China's trade, energy, and strategic ambitions. Since 2015, China has invested over $60 billion in Pakistan, mainly under the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor framework. These investments cover highways, railways, ports, power plants, and industrial zones. ML1 is a linchpin of this network, connecting the Gwadar port and industrial hubs to China's western regions. The benefits for China are clear: a reliable trade corridor, faster access to Middle Eastern and African markets, and a foothold in the Indian Ocean, where strategic naval and commercial interests converge. By modernizing Pakistan's infrastructure, China ensures that goods, energy, and resources move smoothly across the region. But it's not one-sided. Pakistan also gains tremendously. ML1 and CPEC projects modernize infrastructure, create jobs, and boost industrial output. This symbiotic relationship strengthens both countries economically and politically. In short, ML1 is more than rails and steel. It's a strategic artery linking China's Belt and Road vision with Pakistan's development goals. It's a partnership where economic growth, trade, and geopolitics intersect, reshaping South Asia's strategic landscape. So, what does all of this mean? The ML1 railway isn't just a construction project, it's a game-changer for Pakistan, China, and the region. For Pakistan, it's the largest railway upgrade in history, promising faster trains, cheaper logistics, and a more efficient industrial backbone. For China, it's a strategic corridor that secures trade routes to the Indian Ocean and strengthens influence across South Asia. But there's also a geopolitical dimension. India sees ML1 as a potential shift in regional power, especially since the corridor passes near disputed territories and strengthens Pakistan's infrastructure and economy. While India can voice concerns, the project moves forward, showing how infrastructure and geopolitics are deeply intertwined. The story of ML1 teaches a broader lesson. In today's globalized world, infrastructure projects aren't just about transport, they're about trade, influence, and strategic positioning. Timing, financing, and location matter just as much as technology or labor. As ML1 progresses, Pakistan stands to modernize its economy, China consolidates strategic leverage, and the regional balance of power subtly shifts. This is a reminder that behind every railway, port, or highway lies a web of economic and geopolitical consequences. If you found this story insightful and want to follow how mega projects like ML1 shape trade, politics, and global strategy, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. This is just one example of how a single railway can ripple across nations, economies, and decades of planning.